Once upon a time, there was 18-year-old little old me. I had never known my father. Surprise, who else didn't know their father? Raise their hand. No, just kidding. But I had been in contact with his mother, and she lived in Texas. I decided to invest every last cent to go stay with her and get to know her better and maybe get the chance to meet my father. And it all started from Pocatello, Idaho, where I was born and raised for parts of my life. I decided to take the Greyhound bus down the United States. Here's my first bus stop in downtown Pocatello. Hours before I was supposed to depart, I was packing up with my best friend and my mom. These are photos from that night. And then once I was ready to go, they joined me with my grandma, my mother's mom, my grandma up north, and we went to the bus depot around 1 a.m. and we waited for the bus to come and waited, and it never came. So we called and asked what the hell happened. They said, the bus has already been there. You have to drive from Pocatello to Salt Lake City on your own to make the next bus stop on your ticket if you want to keep your ticket. We're not gonna just refund your ticket because you missed the bus. I swear to goodness we were there earlier than 15 minutes, or at least 15 minutes. But I'm not gonna miss out on a $200 ticket for a 2-hour drive. So, here we come, Salt Lake City. Just my mom and I, of course. My best friend and my grandma stayed in Pocatello. While we waited at that bus depot in Salt Lake City, my mom struck up a conversation with the gentleman that was standing in front of us in line. She saw that his baggage was Army issued and she was an Army veteran. Meanwhile, I'm just taking my merry time in the restroom because we have hours that we're going to be at this bus depot before the connection bus comes. And my mom's getting to know Stephen Matthew Perez. The love of my life. She realizes he's on the exact same route as I am and asks him to watch over me on our journeys. Right when I met him, I was just infatuated. I didn't know how to explain it. I had never felt like this when I met somebody in my life. So once we were on the bus from Salt Lake City to Rock Springs, Wyoming, I called my little cousin, Brandy Lynn, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I met the man I'm gonna marry. And she was like, no, what, really? And I was like, I'm not even kidding. So on this ride there, I'm just trying to play it cool, take some selfies and stuff like that. Once we got to Rock Springs, Wyoming, Stephen had tried to speak to me a little bit because, my mom had asked him to help me. Plus, he kind of had his own agenda. He thought I was gorgeous, and on his side of the story, he was just completely flabbergasted. In his words, he had never met anyone like me before, and he was intrigued. He could tell I had some issues, particularly daddy ones, but he was drawn to me. We had a layover in Denver there for a couple hours, and when we were heading inside, I tried to carry my guitar and all my bags, but he helped me like the gentleman he is. I was a little resistant, but then I was like, I should just let this guy help me. He seems like a great guy. We actually had our layover extended for hours, and we were stuck in Denver because of the snow. Once we got on the road to Amarillo, our bus ride was freaking insane. The bus driver was falling asleep at the wheel, and she was taking all these weird stops and going into sheds and shit. Once we got to Amarillo, Texas, she made that drive into a 12-hour drive. So we missed our connection bus, and when they were like, oh, well, you can take the one in the morning, it's our fault, we can set that up, we were like, okay, where are we gonna stay? And they were like, you can sleep in the bus depot. Amy, Dan, Steven, and I were like, okay, so what's our next step? We had met these other two at the Denver bus depot. They also were on the Salt Lake bus as well, and were on the same route. So we were like, what the hell, they can come with us. And this is the guy that was taking the photos of us, and he also took a photo of just himself. He wanted to be a part of our story. He was so much fun. He was hyping us up. And Stephen got us a room in a Marriott. It was a really nice view. I took some photos of the giant window that was in our room and me dramatically looking out the window. It was a really fun night. I called it quits really early because I was exhausted. But before I laid my head to sleep, I took some selfies with our little crew in our hotel room. Then I got curled up in my blanket. This is the next morning. Steven took this photo of me. I sent it to my mom because she made me that blanket. And I had to let her know I was alive. For all, I was stranded with strangers. And I took a picture of Steven because he took that photo. And then I took a picture of Amy and one of Dan. I just didn't want to make it too obvious that I was like just trying to take a picture of Steven. I was like, oh, I should take a picture of these guys too. Then we went to the bus depot because we missed our bus. We all slept in way past the time that we were supposed to get up in the morning, and we walked over and we were like, we're so sorry. We were all exhausted. We had been up for like 36 plus hours, and they hooked us up with a connection bus for the next morning, and they said if you miss this next one, then you're shit out of luck. And so we had a whole day to kill in Amarillo, Texas. We stopped in this little store that was connected to the bus depot. It had like a little fast food bar that you'd see in like a gas station kinda, and also souvenirs. And we picked up these postcards just to kinda have a little memorabilia of what was going on our trip. And we wrote messages to each other on each postcard. It was cute. We also got these shot glasses. Then we went to Walmart. Here's us on the way to Walmart. It was a little over 3 miles and an hour-long walk, and it was so much fun. Amy and I were talking once we got to Walmart, and I was like, I cannot believe that I'm having these feelings towards him. And she was like, don't take anything too seriously. You guys are strangers. I don't want you to get hurt. I actually took the last selfie, and then Amy was like, let me take a photo of you guys. And I was like, I don't know what to do. When she made this suggestion of his arm, my heart just started racing, and he just went for it so fluently, like it was no big deal. And I just remember thinking in my head, oh my God, Steven has this arm around me. And it just sounds so funny, but I was just like falling in love with him. It was insane. So we got back home to the hotel, and we went out to dinner after we put away your groceries from Walmart. And I was taking photos of those two, and then I took a photo of the desserts that we got, fried ice cream and churros. And then after I took so many photos of Amy and Dan, she was like, here, let me take some photos of you guys. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And then so I was like, you want some ice cream? And then we just started laughing about it and took a bunch of this weird ass photos. And he's like, do you want me to feed you some ice cream? I was like, sure. I had this face. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But yeah, so she starts taking these photos of us unexpectedly. And I'm just eating the desserts, and we're just having like a really good time. And then once we got done with dinner and everything, we went back to the hotel room, and we had a great night of just drinking. Well, they were drinking. I only drink a little bit of wine, but they had like Everclear and shit. They were just getting turned up. Steven ends up getting like really intoxicated. Here we are, we're about to leave the restaurant. But once we had already left, this is us. We were playing like a beer pong kind of with wine and liquor. And Steven has a moment where he just starts kind of wandering around. He like puts his dog tags on me, and I was just like, here, you can have these back. And he kept on putting them on me, and I was like, I don't even know this guy. All right, I'll wear his dog tags. I don't want them to get lost. And he ends up exposing like his soul to me, like a heart to heart, just everything that he's gone through, and it was just so intense. I kind of just helped him, followed him around through the night, made sure that he was okay, because he kind of wandered off. And then we stayed up all night, and we had to go to the bus. So from the ride from Amarillo to Fort Worth, Texas, we sat next to each other. told him about our heart-to-heart. I just told him everything he said while he was intoxicated. He was a little freaked out, but was astonished by all that he exposed of himself. He's generally a very private person, so he was genuinely shocked by all that he shared. Then we wrote this note. November 28th, 2013, 11:47 a.m. Stephen put, "You suck." And I put next to it, "Said jerkface." And then he's like, "You're amazing, beautiful, and definitely one of a kind." And I was like, "Thank you, that means a lot coming from you. What exactly makes you say that I'm one of a kind?" In all honesty, I think that you're the tickle monster. And so unbelievably handsome, sweet, and hilarious. And he was like, "'Cause you're extremely kind, beautiful, smart, and have a great sense of humor. I have never met anyone like you before. It's amazing how close I feel to you, even though we haven't known each other long. You know more about me than most of my closest friends. I feel like I can talk to you about anything." And I replied with, "Stephen, I am so happy that I met you. I do understand why you feel that way. You're the best guy that I've ever met. I know that your past is difficult, but you still treat people with respect. I'm so impressed with who you are as a person. You're so strong, and for all that you've seen. For some lovely reason, I feel extremely connected with you." And he's like, "I agree completely with everything that you said. I feel a deep connection with you. I'm so glad I met you on this trip. You are just flat out amazing." And I was like, "You want to know something?" And he was like, "Yes." And I was like, "When I first met you, I didn't think you enjoyed my company." And then he's like, "That's insane, because I love your company." And I was like, "I love your company as well. You are truly enjoyable all around." To be honest, I wanted to tell him when I first met you, I was just head over heels. No, I'm just kidding. But I didn't want to scare him off. The whole reason that we were even doing a note is because the bus driver was like, "Can you guys quiet down on the bus? There's some people trying to sleep," because it was like an early bus. So it's kind of ironic because now we get to have it forever. It's cute. Once we got to the Fort Worth bus depot, we sat there and I kind of like put my legs on him and then exchanged numbers and waited for his bus to pick him up. It was really cute. I waited to call my family until he got picked up. My grandmother and my father, surprisingly, came and picked me up. I got settled at my grandma's. And I went and stayed at my dad's shortly after, like a couple days after I arrived in Texas. Next, I stayed with my Uncle Jack in Waxahachie, Texas. It's about an hour outside of Dallas. And Stephen came up and visited me, and we walked around downtown Waxahachie. It's a really small little town. We look so funny in these photos because I had just fallen in front of the Christmas tree into a puddle, and that's why I was making those funny faces. But this night he stayed the night at my uncle's house, and we actually had our first kiss right before we got back to the house when we were walking around downtown. And then the next day he took us on my first official date with him. We went to that movie theater in Sonic. And then he was working on my uncle's rifle, just kind of bonding with him, talking with him. And then the next night we went walking around downtown again. So now we've officially kissed and everything for the first time. And after he left my uncle's, he asked me out officially on December 19th. So then it was my turn. I went down south to Georgetown and visited him. Then I officially met his mom and got to spend time with her. Then Stephen drove up and met my father. It was wild. So I got to introduce my dad to a guy. I have a journal entry talking about my boyfriend of 38 days is going to meet my father. I'm so excited. And then we went out on the town in downtown Dallas and ended up at the Museum of Art. And we just kind of went back and forth and saw each other. We're at the Fort Worth Botanical Gardens and an Olive Garden, and just these are just like a little slideshow of us falling in love, like, you know, all within the first couple months of us knowing each other. And we went out to Arizona. This is here in Arizona. My brothers live there, And this is actually when Steven asked me to marry him. And I flew back with him to Texas after he met me in Arizona, and we went to his brother's wedding. I actually moved in with him down in Texas when we flew back from Arizona. And then our 1-year anniversary happened, and shortly after our 1-year anniversary, we moved up to Idaho. And we got a dog, and we lived up in Idaho for like 5 years and just enjoyed being a young couple in love, engaged, and building our dog family. And actually in this photo, I was pregnant and we didn't even know it yet. And we ended up getting married finally before we had our baby. We had been engaged for 3.5 years, so I was like, let's do this, let's get married. I was ready to just go to the courthouse, but then I was like, wait, I want a wedding, and Steven was working for a hotel, so we were like, can you get a discount in Vegas? And sure as shit, there was plenty of Hamptons and Hiltons that he could get discounts with. So we had 12 guests that could make it to the wedding on the spur of a moment. I planned it in like 2 weeks. It was such a fun, beautiful day. It was just stress-free and like, it was just really fun. I recommend getting a Vegas wedding planned, and I don't know, destination weddings can be fun. There's our first kiss. And now you may kiss the bride. I've thought of making another video explaining all the stuff I ordered on Amazon and kind of the thought process and the Groupons. Like, there's so many different wedding chapels down there, but I don't know, 2020 happened and everything's crazy, so you'd have to call and make sure that they're still open. But it was really beautiful, and it was all like under $1,000, so it was really awesome. It was really fun. And then our maternity photos with our first child. It's just crazy to think about. Like, I met this guy on the bus and I just knew it was crazy. And now we have this crazy life where we are parents to not one, but 2 mother trucking kids. In this next photo, you get to see Christmas time 2019. Family photos with our little guy, and I'm pregnant with number 2, little baby Misha. And then here we all are once she's born, and she's a couple months old, and it's just crazy now. Fast forward, here we are, 2021, just celebrated our 3-year wedding anniversary, and our daughter just turned 1. Our little guy is 2. And now we actually live in the house that I was staying up all night long, getting to know him and raising our little family here in Texas. Also, another circle of life moment is that my great-grandparents lived in this house until the day that they died. And they were married for a really long time and had 3 beautiful children. So it's kind of beautiful that we get to be in their house as well. And that's what this channel is all about, is just my little life. And you know, he's the main part of my life. So I just thought I should share my story with him. It's a weird, unique story, and it resulted in something really beautiful. Like, we fight hard every single day to try to make this healthy and, you know, just love each other the most we can. And it all happened from meeting him on a Greyhound bus ride and getting stranded in Amarillo with him. And I don't know, it's just, we were meant to be. It's crazy. I don't know. When you know, you know, you know? So this is my life.